Lynn Cullen live in 1 minute. Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com.
I am so proud of myself.
Yeah, you got that working.
Because, no one could ever figure out how to do it, and I did. I think I'm a minute shy, but I set a clock. Really?
After this, the VCR.
Set zone? Oh, Eastern.
Yeah.
Like, who cares? Okay. Hi. Welcome. I know now because I just put it in. It is Friday, April 4th. And it's, you don't care what time it is because odds are you're listening at a different time. Hello, Potter.
Hello.
Wearing his nice shirt.
I love that shirt.
I thought
know.
I was being made fun of.
No.
But no.
No.
I would wear that
Awesome.
exact
I didn't mean to say.
I think it goes without saying that my wife bought this.
Yeah, right. Really. I didn't mean to say by wearing his nice shirt that you didn't have any
Other
other
shirts.
shirts
Yeah,
that
no,
I
this
would
is-
categorize as nice. I think there is one other.
That's great. Okay, good.
All right. Hi, Chris.
Hello.
You seem a little reluctant.
No, I'm not
Okay.
feeling. I'm still not feeling very well. My kid may have bronchitis. We're waiting to find out.
Oh,
Yeah. So, but anyway, yeah.
the joys of parenthood.
So if that's why I sort of cough and stuff, that's why.
Well, head of that
Yeah, I
away.
should.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Thank you. I don't want to
Cough on the hired help over here. Yeah.
Well,
Anyway.
no, parenting is difficult. That's why I'm into the little eagles.
Yeah, but the bright side is,
Yeah.
with all the viruses and whatnot that my kid is being exposed to in daycare, by the time he's like
He will be
16,
immune.
he'll be like an atomic super
Right,
child.
that's right. Immune
Capable
to
of
everything.
surviving
Right.
life in a global warming environment.
That's
So
correct.
We're really looking forward to him carrying on the genetic legacy.
That's if he doesn't kill you in the process, right?
Either way.
Either way. This is what happens.
Yeah.
So our clock died. That's why,
I see.
that's
Got
what
it.
happened. So
All
this
right.
is what I,
Good.
okay. Well, hello. Hello.
Hi.
What? You look so
You have that.
nervous.
No, it's because you
You
have that.
look like
you have that
what?
sort of loose, like, I don't really know what today's show is going to be about.
But
kind of
that's
thing, and
every day.
No, sometimes I come here and I feel like, Lynn has an agenda. We are going to be checking the boxes off today. This sucker is going to move. And then there are times like last week where it's just like,
Whoa.
it's a sort of existential, you know what I mean?
But don't
like,
you like those? That's sort of, living, it's living a little on the edge.
I do that like
A lot.
most of the time.
So
So when I
you-
come here, I just throw myself into your capable hands and
Well, then,
let
trust
you
it.
shepherd us through. Okay.
Trust
All right,
it.
I do.
You don't have to. Really, you should see his eyes because I can see really closely, and he looks at me like, "Oh God,
What's happening?
What's happening? What's going to happen to me? What's?" You can handle whatever I throw at you.
Okay. I guess we'll find out.
Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is a correction. We have been.
This is a first on talk radio.
Oh,
I
by
think.
the way, speaking of corrections, and then remind me that I wanted to
Okay,
make one.
to do one.
Okay, there was the funniest correction in the Post-Gazette the other day, I thought, in regard to Tim Stevens. Did you happen to read it?
No, I didn't.
Oh, my God.
I sometimes forget. I always try to look, but then I sometimes forget.
Well, I knew there would have to be because the day before there'd been a picture and Tim was in it, and they identified him as the president of the NAACP.
Which he hasn't been for
yeah,
years.
for years. And I was really shocked to see that. And then the next day, there is the correction. I cannot for the life of me quote it to you, but it didn't get to the point until the last. It had a big, long thing.
Okay.
Tim Stevens is currently the founder of the Black and Political Empowerment Project, blah, blah, blah. And you don't know why they're telling you this. I'm saying, yeah, okay.
Right.
And then blah, 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 blah. And then it said something. It was just the wording. The last sentence was, they finally get to it. His current endeavors. First of all.
Endeavors.
His current endeavors.
Yeah.
That's what really blew me away.
Yeah.
Is that normal speak?
Not really.
Who wrote this thing? His current endeavors include, and it was just the most bizarre, too long, could have been done in one sentence, and you start to think, and I know the newspaper biz is in tough times.
Yeah.
And there aren't as many old hands as there used to be, right? Mm-hmm. So I think more mistakes do happen.
Sure.
And I think...
there have been cutbacks, too. The copy desk isn't as well staffed.
Right, and so whoever maybe is writing corrections is a little unsure of how to proceed.
Right.
Because this thing was the funniest, convoluted thing.
Wait, his current endeavors what?
I can't remember.
Oh, what the hell?
No. But it was just the verbiage.
I see.
And finally, at the end, his current endeavor. I think I'm remembering this right. It was so stupid. It was so archaic, and it was bizarre. All you had to do was say,
he's no longer with
in
an
a caption, yesterday's paper.
Misidentified his affiliation. He is currently
is
founder
blah
of
blah
the
blah blah
Black
blah
Political
BPAP,
Project.
and he was a former president of the Pennsylvania NAACP.
Yes.
Back.
Yeah. So what was your correction going to be?
Well, that was my correction.
Yeah.
Is I have been talking about this quote to live by, and I've been misquoting it.
Oh, what was the quote?
Okay, and I didn't know who said it. And as it turns out, what I was saying.
Did you find it on the
internet? He
internet?
didn't say no. About 5, 6, 7, or 8, 100 people emailed me.
Okay.
Okay. So I've been saying. I mean, I had the general sense right, but he said it better.
Okay.
I've been saying, live each day like it may be your last, and learn each day like you will live forever.
Well, that's very nice.
Yes. That is incorrect. The correct one is, live as if you were to die tomorrow.
Dear me.
Listen to it, though. It's so good.
Yeah.
Live as if you were to die tomorrow. Learn as if you were to live forever. It's much better. The editor said
there. Yep.
It's much
And who said it?
Mahatma Gandhi.
Yeah, sure.
So that's the correct one. And it's right straighter to the point.
Who did you say was saying it?
I didn't know.
Oh, okay. You just didn't realize. Okay.
I said whoever said it was right on the money. Those are words to live by. And if you were to live like that, you'd have a hell of a life.
I guess so.
Which brings us to another subject that came up earlier in the week.
Okay.
I was going up in the elevator, and there were two men in there with me who got off a few floors before me, and one was younger and one was older. And the older one was saying to him as they exited, he said, "You see, the meaning of success is..." And I am like, ding, don't, my ding, and they're gone. And I'm thinking, I would never have the nerve to say that to anybody.
Oh, right.
You know, like, what? So I said, how would you define that? That is like a...
Right.
Well, what would you say?
Well, what did he say? Did you hear what the end of it was?
No,
I
I didn't.
Yeah.
He said something about decisions, I heard as he trailed off and the door slammed. Decisions and relationships was another word I heard.
First of all, if the guy was getting off on a floor lower than us, he clearly doesn't know what the meaning of success is. I only listen to people going up to 64. Over in the U.S. Steel Building. Jeffrey Romoff, if he starts a sentence, the meaning of success is, then I grab the door just to hear.
No, he doesn't know the meaning.
A much younger wife and fresh squeezed orange juice on the Mediterranean
coast. He does not know. See, I think he's somebody who's got it wrong.
Oh, I see.
I do.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
By all measures of, by all...
No, he does have a younger wife, though, which is the standard I used to judge my own life as a success. So. I'm just
And
kidding.
that's not
This is just a
something you
joke.
want to say to an older woman.
No, I'm just kidding.
All right.
It's
okay,
because it
all
doesn't
right,
really
all right,
matter.
okay. All right. So Mike from DC did chirp in today. I'm not going to do it all, but
Okay.
he says he thinks success is looking forward to waking up in the morning. That's not a bad.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And he also says, and having a job that you don't dread, so that means don't
Right.
follow the money, follow your heart. Try to find a job you like because you're going to spend a lot of time at it. And he also says then, and get a good mattress because you're going to spend a lot of time on that. And also buy good shoes, the best you can afford because you spend a lot of time on your feet.
See,
These are very practical.
Yeah,
things.
and I would say I have even lower horizons than he does. Mike says success is looking forward to waking up in the morning. To me, success is simply
Just waking
up in the morning. I'm already a winner.
Right, okay, did it! Woo! We nailed that.
When you have a kid who's about to turn 3 and you actually wake up like as late as 5:30 in the morning in my house, that is successful.
That is like a full night's sleep?
That's as good as it gets. That is as good as it gets.
All right. Okay. Well, that was okay. Now we've taken care.
Okay.
I think of old business.
Yeah.
Oh, I keep looking up there because I think it is, but
I'm gonna have to change my way too, because
yeah, you do too. I know. We look up and we're greeted by
just a blank.
a blank screen. Scary. Would you like to rant a little bit about the Supreme Court decision, or are you beyond that? I actually had an angst-ridden drive downtown with a friend last night who I'd picked up. We were going somewhere. And she said, I just can't understand. And I mean, there was this sense of it, and I feel the same way. These are not evil people.
Which ones? The
five.
justices? Yeah.
The five.
Mm-hmm.
They're intelligent people, with a few exceptions maybe. And who did I see quoted today as saying, the justices are supposed to not concern themselves with politics they're supposed to simply concern themselves, but they are not supposed to be, he said, naive.
Yes, right.
Naive.
Well, and let's remember that they often, their naivete tends to come and go as suits their ideological ends. Let's remember that Scalia, when the health care, when Obamacare was before the court, Scalia went on at quite some length about, aren't these things all, he was like bringing up the Cornhusker kickback and all this stuff that was
very political stuff.
Very political accusations, which we should point out wasn't even in the final bill, but he had obviously been paying attention to that stuff. To take Scalia again, he's brought up issues about all this kind of stuff before. We recall the Voting Rights Act when they basically nullified that, and Scalia said, well, these legislators who vote to renew it every 4 or 5 years, and he went on about how they vote for it almost unanimously, and this just proved that what was really in these legislators' minds was they just didn't want to be against minority voting.
So that justice is really paying a lot of attention to what's going on in there.
They pay attention to that stuff when it suits their interest, and they don't when it doesn't. So, I will say, as somebody who spends no small amount of time sort of navigating these issues. I mean, I cover elections pretty much every year. Right. I have become cynical or whatever about it, and I feel as though, and I felt for a long time that trying to limit this money is just a bootless task anyway. You simply cannot. There's no way to do it. It always finds a way. It's like the water through the plumbing or through a dam or something. It's always going to find a way. What you want to do, what the most you can hope for is to be able to document it. That the transparency of where that money is coming from and how it's being
will
spent,
be made known.
That to me is the issue, because honestly, a lot of times that stuff ends up biting people in the ass. If you become known as the candidate who happens to be the Cook brothers, staking horse in this race or whatever, then that stalking horse in this race, then you get that reputation. You're their puppet. So for me, what I'm concerned about more going forward, and look, let's be honest. You've probably said this yourself. This is just as previous decisions become the foundation stone for this one that we had this week will become the one they have for the next time around.
Well, and they say that this there's no reason to think that this court's agenda to deregulate, absolutely deregulate election spending will not stop.
Yeah, there's no reason to. There's no reason to think it will. I mean, clearly these guys have decided, and that they're First Amendment absolutists.
Okay, First Amendment. Yeah. But I if I were the First Amendment, I'd pummel them. How dare they lay that on the First Amendment? How dare they? It doesn't even hold up to like a kindergartner scrutiny, which is, oh wait, so you mean money is speech. Yeah. So that means then that the guys with all the money have more speech than I.
Yes.
And their speech can drown out the speech of literally millions of little people.
Right.
How can they not take their money as speech and go that next step? What are they thinking? What are they thinking? It is simply an outrage to call that a First Amendment issue.
Yeah. Well, and the corollary to that, too, money is speech, and then corporations are people who have free speech rights. You take those two things together. And look, I mean, it's not an exaggeration in my mind to say we are rapidly going back to the sort of Gilded Age.
Rapidly going back?
No, I think there's still
for some time.
There's still the limit on what you can give to an individual candidate.
And I'm sure we're not going to have a Teddy Roosevelt rising in the Republican Party to help reverse the ship.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
They're going to destroy the Republicans are really, you couldn't, if they were true fifth column, they are literally trying to undermine this country.
Yeah. No, so
and they don't even realize.
Here's what we got. Here's what people got to do. It's a pretty simple solution.
Vote!
People got to turn out in these off-year elections.
Vote these Democrats. I want to kill these Democrats who don't vote unless there's a presidential. I want to kill you all because
it's what's destroying us.
Okay, so then the Democrats are killing us because they don't get their people out.
And but there's the sort of chicken and egg scenario. I mean, we have a Democratic Party that is largely already fairly corporatist in its outlook on these issues. So
But
they're supposed to rally us to the cause, and yet they don't do that, and so we're less likely to turn out for them, and so we get this situation where they're more and more beholden to the corporate interests or whatever.
Not to bring up the Eagles again, but the Democrats and the Republicans and all those candidates remind me of the little eaglets. That's what I see now. Just clamoring with their mouths wide open. Feed me, feed me, feed me.
Right.
And the big oligarchs are the big daddy eagles. And they decide who gets their money. And it's fine. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. I cannot believe the damage.
I mean, I'm not. Are you surprised though? When this decision came down, you were not surprised.
But I'm just.
Well, I'll tell you what I worry about. What I worry about is, as time goes on, not only are they going to assert the free speech rights of these wealthy folks, but there are going to be efforts to conceal who's doing the speaking. You've already seen, there have been debates in California about whether removing, whether departments of elections should conceal the people who sign off on petitions to put stuff like Proposition 8 on the ballot. I'm as concerned about sort of the anonymity of the money as I am by the volume of it. And so you've got these 501c4s and all these other things that essentially act as political slush funds. That's the part that, as a reporter and somebody who's committed to transparency, I'm most concerned about.
Okay. Well, that brings us to this Mozilla thing.
Hey, I provided you a segue, and I didn't even realize I was doing it.
Are you sure? I saw your eyes go over there.
No, I was looking at the back of U.S. Steel.
Oh, okay. Because I thought, wow, this will bring us right into what has happened since now the CEO of Mozilla has stepped aside or been pushed, and all because he gave $1,000, a measly amount, $1,000 to the Prop 8, was it?
Yes.
Proposition 8 initiative in California, which would have prevented gays from being able to marry. So he's on the anti-gay side. Okay, I've talked about this a little bit a few days ago. And I said I was a little queasy about what I thought was a real bizarre overreaction. But you know what? I'm looking at the clock, and what I want to do is take our first break
and then we'll talk.
And come back, because I really think this is an important issue.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Well, I'll be interested to see where you come down on it. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com or call Lynn at 412-316-3381. Lynn Cullen Live will return in a moment.
Pittsburgh City Paper's Pirates Preview is available now. Pick up one today for a look at the Buccos as they head into the 2014 Big Aspirations. Plus, Cedric the Entertainer, La Boheme, Minios, and Les Zeppelin. Pittsburgh City Paper, available at over 1,700 locations throughout Western Pennsylvania and on the web at pghcitypaper.com, your smartphone at citypapermobile.com, and on the iPhone App Store and Google Play.
Check out my new time machine.
Does it work?
Hit the button.
Hey, it's Napoleon.
Oui. Check out the future.
Hey, you have a nice house. Why don't I?
You didn't save any money, buddy.
If only there was a way I could go back in time and fix that.
Yeah.
Save something for the future. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
Now, it's back to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com.
All right, we are back. And so to iterate.
Yes.
Do you know that means the same as reiterate? So what's the point? So where did the word reiterate come from?
I don't know. Yeah.
Sort of like flammable and inflammable.
Well,
is it not?
I think that's, yeah.
Well, what is that about?
Yeah, I don't know.
All right. Well, what good are you? You don't know.
People ask that question every week.
You should look it up then. All right.
Okay,
so this guy who'd been with Mozilla forever, and in fact was one of their major genius types who sort of figured out how all kinds of whatever these people do. I don't know. His name is Ike. Is that how it's pronounced? Ike?
So, yeah, I've only ever read it. So.
Okay, Brendan Ike. Okay, so 6 years ago, he gave $1,000 as a private citizen to, help along a referendum, in which clearly he felt that gay people shouldn't marry, whatever. Then one of the larger dating sites,
right,
OkCupid, and this is what I did mention a few days ago, came out, and if you went to their site, bango, right at the top was this castigation.
If you were a Mozilla Firefox user. That was your browser, I think.
That's right. If you used Mozilla
I should
Firefox.
Disclose, I do. And I have continued to use it.
Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah. Oh, you must be a homophobe. Right. Okay, so just a way. And and my Cupid said we would prefer that our users not use Mozilla software to access OkCupid. And then it went on. It was a screed. And it then said, those who seek to deny love and instead enforce misery, shame, and frustration are our enemies. And we wish them nothing but failure. Now, I gotta tell you, these are the guys who run getting people together in loving relationships are filled with such unbelievably venomous hate. I thought that was so just creepily over the top.
Although we should say that Mozilla, you could scroll to the bottom and then get let in anyway. Like
yes.
They didn't prevent Mozilla users from finding love.
I know, but okay, here's what I think. And I think I said this. What this guy did in his life as a private citizen, as an American who had the right to influence his government and blah, blah, blah. I'm sure he didn't know that his name would come out. There was some effort to get the names.
Yeah,
of,
yeah.
Right, exactly what you were saying.
$1,000. I don't know everything about that Prop 8 campaign, but I have to believe that a guy giving $1,000 was way down the list of financial benefits.
Oh, heck! It's
So, yeah,
nothing.
they must
it's like
have really
nothing. Scoured looking. Okay, now here. I don't agree with his politics. I don't agree with his point of view. But we're supposed to get the mob all riled up, and we're supposed to cost this person a job he just got, by the way. He was just promoted
just a few weeks
to
ago,
CEO.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't think the right way on an issue. I mean, I'm sorry. It's everybody's individual choice to, if they're offended by what he did, stop using his product.
Yes.
Fine, do that.
Okay.
But to hound him into...
Well, now, let's extend that, though. Then does OkCupid, I mean, those are individuals, too. Do they have the right to use their thing as a platform to say we object to that stance?
Yes, yes, they do, I guess. But I think as a business decision, it's weird.
No.
I think it's weird. And I think it's over the top.
I can't remember how you felt about, say, the Chick-fil-A.
I thought that was over the top.
Too. Okay, so this, I would say to me...
And I have eaten at Chick-fil-A since then, just to say I will not be told that, if you start this crap up, let me tell you, I remember reading something about the guy who owns Home Depot doing something that I found appalling. I thought, that's it, I'm never going there again. Then I find out that the guy who owns Lowe's did something. And I thought, I'm not going there.
These are the limitations of consumer.
Where the hell am I going to go?
These are the limitations of the consumer campaign. Go ahead,
All
caller.
right, go ahead, caller.
Hey, Lynn, this is Mike from D.C.
Hey,
Mike.
I don't mean to play devil's advocate here,
Go ahead, but...
say he donated $1,000 to deniers of the Holocaust.
Yeah, okay.
And a website that talked about freedom or equality or history said on their history site, don't use Mozilla.
Right.
Would you be okay with that?
No, as I said, I'm not against. I mean, it's their...
Not you personally, but the concept.
Okay. The concept. Okay.
Well, yeah, because what exactly are you objecting to? If you're not objecting, if you're saying, if you agree that OkCupid has the right to put up their little screed...
I'm objecting to the fact that... So who cost this guy his job? That's what I want to know. This then...
The shareholders.
The shareholders and the...
Okay, the skittish shareholders. You know how I felt about the anonymous thing in the Steubenville case. It all feels like more of the same to me. I don't like this enforced orthodoxy ever. I don't want anybody telling me you can't eat there because that guy said this. You can't use that because he gave 1,000. You can't. I don't have the time to do the due diligence that's going to require, that'll allow me to spend my money in a place where I won't feel like I'm helping an evil person or something. I mean, I don't know what that... Oh, shut up.
I haven't said anything.
Yeah, but you're waiting to pounce.
No, I'm not. I'm thinking.
I just...
This is me waiting
get
to
that
pounce.
memo either to not use Mozilla, right?
Yeah.
But when they saw it, I said, "Oh, this is a site that's talking about love."
Yeah.
And they're taking a stand.
It's in their
like
wheelhouse.
Other guy.
Yeah.
I don't have a stake in this fight.
Yeah.
But I'm saying if the issue
wait.
was different, we might feel differently.
That's fine. Okay, right. But don't you find it a little bit eyebrow-raising that this site, which is about love, ends up saying that someone who doesn't agree with marriage and gay marriage is an enemy and we wish them nothing but failure? That's that kind of lunatic black and white thinking that throws out babies with bathwater all the time. Can't everybody just friggin' relax a little bit? Jeez.
Well, let's take a step back and view this with the somewhat more jaundiced
Dispassion?
eye, which is OkCupid has a business model that involves getting people to come to its site and find love with each other. I doubt it hurts OkCupid to get articles written about itself and its strong principled stand about these things. So let's also
You think it was
sort
a
of
cynical?
No, I think it was. What I think is it's a business that's making a certain kind of business decision. I think its business also depends on attracting people from all walks of life to use its site. So all orientations, people who are looking for all kinds of people coming to its site is good business for OkCupid. And I don't say that makes them insincere, because it's nice that they have a business model where people of all backgrounds, all orientations, just all kinds of walks of life are able to come in there.
Okay.
So I'm not against it. I somewhat look, when I found out about this thing, I was like, Jesus, now do I have to go and find another browser?
Exactly.
And I just,
you said no.
I just said $1,000 to this campaign by this guy who's a corporate officer, to me
is not a capital
de minimis.
offense.
It just is almost not even a blip to me.
Exactly right.
So I made that decision. If that makes me not an ally to the movement, I guess
it makes you an enemy.
Yeah, I guess then I'll have to.
No, you're an enemy.
But so should we not release that information? You were just talking about transparency a minute ago. I feel the exact opposite. That guy is wrong. I'm not going to use Firefox anymore. Why is that bad to know?
Oh, I'm not against knowing it. I knew it, and I thought...
Yeah, but you're next then. Then they'll turn to you. What do you mean you're still using Firefox? How dare you? Well, you must be a homophobe.
Now
And
I'm in the clear because
goes?
they dumped the guy.
No, but I got to tell you, I just don't like this. You know what? And Andrew Sullivan said something that I thought, well, I'm glad I got somebody on my side on this who's not only gay,
He's gay,
he's gay. And he said this, that this guy had been scalped. He says, if this is the gay rights movement today, hounding our opponents with a fanaticism more like the religious right, then count me out. It's the same, and it's how I react to it too.
Yeah.
I don't, as I said, everybody can take their damn orthodoxies and all of their, their catechisms and stuff them.
Do you think that there's a qualitative difference when the religious right is doing this stuff? When they're hounding people or whatever, it's generally to take rights away from people or to prevent them from being extended, right? In this case, what's at issue for people is something fundamental to their own lives. And what they would say, I suspect, is that this guy, by contributing $1,000 to a campaign, but they may be winning, but they haven't won. I mean, look at Pennsylvania. You still do not have marriage rights and all that. So they would say, I suspect, that by contributing this money, he's the aggressor. He is trying to deny them the very essence of the kinds of life opportunities that you and I take for granted. And guess what? He loses his high-paid job as a tech blah blah CEO. Well, you know what? That's how it goes.
But to me, these are all individual decisions, right? Individual choices.
No, the decision to contribute money to a campaign to deny people the right to make their own choices.
That's an
about
individual decision.
Yeah, but it's denied. But this is what I'm saying.
Right?
It's
so
denied.
If that $1,000 is speech.
Yes.
Then my money or my willingness, and I really, again, don't have to talk about here.
Yeah.
But that's $1,000. The Supreme Court just said a speech. He spoke, and we said, whoever collective we is, that's not cool.
Yeah.
We don't like
I'm going to speak. Right. That's fine. Okay. Right.
Yeah. I understand where you're coming from, Mike.
But do you understand where I'm coming from?
I do. There is something. There is something a little.
Go ahead, sorry.
No, you go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, go ahead.
That the pitchfork mob marching down the street saying whatever the cause is, no vanilla ice cream on Mondays, gays should have marriage, isn't why. It's not even necessarily the right thing to do.
Yeah.
When that preacher Phelps died, there were gays out front with signs that said encouraging things.
Right.
I forget one of the things which says,
we are sorry.
Our hearts are with you.
Yeah, we are sorry for your loss.
Yeah.
or our sorry. They did
your
that.
loss.
That's brilliant.
Right.
That's so brilliant.
That is brilliant. That's brilliant. I just, whatever. If it's my nature.
How else are poor people supposed to get speech?
Okay, my nature just is, if I see the crowd forming, I tend to go the other way. I just don't like crowds.
But you got to admit that without crowds, a lot of positive social change never happens.
That's true. But sometimes crowds turn into mobs, and I really don't like mobs. And I don't like mob mentality and mob think, and I don't like anyone screwing with my right or his right. Everybody, yeah, you're right to stop using Firefox. You're right to say, I don't agree with what he did, but I like the product. I'm going to keep using it. And my right to tell everybody to calm down, for Christ's sake. I mean, this is making really a molehill into a mountain. I think this was unnecessary. I think this was unnecessary, and I think it makes what I think the picture Sullivan paints here is an apt one. The gay rights movement has a lot of success and a lot of goodwill, and I don't think that OkCupid is particularly helpful.
But at what point does somebody, and this is sort of I've already said I feel like this particular CEO, and we should also point out the Mozilla itself came out with a statement saying his contribution does not represent this corporation's.
Oh yeah, they were severing themselves in every way from him.
And I presume has this coverage? It's something I sort of assume, but I don't know for a fact. Does Mozilla, as an employer, what kind of benefits do they offer? Do they recognize?
They're gay friendly.
Yes,
he's been gay. He, as a CEO, has been gay friendly.
Yep.
He has had no. I mean, this was. It had nothing to do with his business.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But this is why Chris was talking about transparency, and that's the danger here.
Yeah.
Is that the Koch brothers want to be transparent. Because the people with the pitchforks or other companies that say, no, we won't work for you, can stop them.
Yeah, right.
I think the real issues are totally related.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Jeez. How to make me feel sorry for somebody I wouldn't otherwise feel sorry for at all.
Yeah.
Victims of mob violence.
It is ironic in some ways that he's out after 2 weeks for this.
Yes, and who's still
like Jamie Dimon is still around running the show in Wall Street after nearly prostrating the United States economy. It's just, it's pretty.
And he's still considered like some golden boy or something.
Yeah,
it's something.
Yeah, it really does show how that. On social issues, where we are is so much different from where we are on economic issues.
That's correct.
And not just in terms of the ability to mobilize, but also the sensitivity. And this was, this is a tech outfit, and they have their own. That's its sort of own little world, which has different values than obviously the Hobby Lobbies of the world. You know what I mean? There's a certain Silicon Valley mindset, I think, that is far more tolerant than you see in a lot of other places.
But see, I don't like it. Okay, you could say he's intolerant because he couldn't grasp how gays want to marry, but when I just wish why can't everybody just get along?
Because some people are assholes, Lynn. That's why.
Hello, caller.
Hey, good morning, Lynn.
Hi.
Morning.
George Ramon.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I agree a lot with Lynn on this.
Uh-oh.
What do you mean, uh-oh?
And there was one component of it I think needs to be pulled out of this that might hit the nail on the head with her. But I agree with the rest of you guys also. But the essence of this, it isn't they're so much the blame that they're putting on this guy for making the contribution. They are then vilifying anybody that uses the service that he was the head of. Mm. And that is the old thing from the McCarthy days. Mm. The accusing of someone who ever associated or was a fellow traveler, they called them, or had any association. That's how they destroy people's careers, to say, you knew of this person. You used to be a supporter of this person who was a communist, or who was this or that, or who was a socialist, or was a member of this group. And it was the association that they then vilified and made evil because that person had that association. In this case, I think it's like if you use that service, you're evil. You're evil, and I think that's really the.
You're abetting. You're abetting evil. You are.
Right,
You're
right.
aiding and abetting evil.
Right, and they spread the condemnation wider than just the person who made an individual decision, and they put it on a whole group of people that they think are just fellow travelers, and therefore need to be called evil. That's a real heavy number, and I don't know, some of you guys should remember back to those days of McCarthyism and red baiting and vilifying and destroying people's careers that had any association with the members of the Communist Party or whatever. And that's the way I see it. Anyway, it's that association. All of a sudden, you're just as evil as the person who carried out their attitude, which is our policy.
Well, yeah, I'll tell you. Okay, Chris is having trouble with your.
Well, I just don't. I mean, look, the difference between McCarthyism and this is McCarthy was a U.S. senator with the power to bring people up, accuse them of treason. He had the power of government behind him in a different way than somebody who says anybody who uses Firefox is an asshole. You know what I mean?
Of course, I'm not.
So I mean, I think there's a difference
between a political leader and a corporate.
and not right.
Or a
so,
business doing that.
So I mean,
that's not what I'm really talking. I'm talking about the concept of a
guilt by association.
Like I got a friend that says, "Why do you go and shop at Walmart? They have a despicable labor policy."
Right.
Yeah, exactly. I agree, but I shop there anyway. Okay. Now, you have the choice to call me evil as part of the terrible labor practices of Walmart and depreciate me. Now, you've got to show me where I am that evil because I decide to shop at one time or another there. And see, that broad brush painting of people as evil because they might associate in some small way with your evil,
with your nemesis. No, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I mean, there's obviously a question of tactics here too, and this is where maybe I would disagree with Lynn on the OkCupid thing. I think it's one thing to say to somebody on their way into Walmart, "Hey, did you realize? Here's a flyer about what Walmart's labor policies are."
Yeah, that's okay.
I think that's fine, and I think in a way that's what OkCupid was doing. They were saying, "Hey, Mozilla user, did you realize this about this new CEO of your thing?" So I don't necessarily, I don't have a problem with that. And of course, they did let you into the site. So I mean, and they weren't, the fact that the thing was clearly tagged to what browser you're using to get there, targeted the message in a way that I would say is kind of effective. So I hear what you're saying, and I think a lot of it depends on the tactics. I mean, nobody has called me out for using. Maybe now after I've been on this show, nobody's denounced me for using Firefox, and I guess now nobody will because the guy's gone. So I can't really speak to whether to what it's like to be targeted in that way, but I just don't see it happening yet.
Okay, Lynn, didn't you just read something from those Cupid people saying that anybody associates with Firefox is evil?
No, I don't think that's.
Well, they said they called him evil, didn't they? They said anyone who
denies the right of people, we hope they fail, and we hope they fail.
Is our enemy. What do you do with it?
I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's the language that takes it.
Yeah, but they didn't say "Hey, unbeliever, get off of our site." They didn't bar people from getting in and seeking love in all the wrong places like everyone else.
All I want to say is, let's say this guy was not the CEO. Here's a reality. This is a man who 6 years ago, in a hotly contested election referendum with people on both sides of the issue, and you cannot say that everybody who voted on the one side is evil. You just can't. And if you do say that, then I think you're out of your friggin' mind. Yeah. Okay.
Right. I can tell I have relatives who voted on the wrong side of the issue.
Okay, so wait. So 6 years ago, he gives $1,000 to that as a private citizen, and today he has lost his job as a result of that one action, writing a check 6 years ago. He lost his job because he did something politically incorrect that creeps me out.
Yeah,
I agree.
I don't want to
agree.
live in a world like that.
Yeah, hang me high because I voted back in '69 for Richard Nixon.
Yeah, right.
Made a
Okay,
mistake.
exactly right.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, George.
Thanks for the
thank
call.
you.
We got to take a break.
Bye. Yeah, we do.
More is on the way with Lynn Cullen Live.
BergBargains.com is your best bet for great deals in the Berg. Log on today for exclusive bargains from your favorite events and shows like Pyrofest, City Theater, and the Symphony, plus discounts on gift cards to P.F. Chang's. BergBargains.com, Pittsburgh's best bargains. BergBargains.com.
So when you get to the corner of Smith and Orchard, you're going to want to take a left.
You are not going to
Then what you're
believe
going to
this.
do is turn onto
Marcy
Marcy
and Brad
Avenue.
just broke up,
and go past
and
the first
apparently
3
she's
lights
happy
and then
about
take
it.
the next left.
I don't really
then
think
drive 5
she's
more
happy,
blocks
but
and you should be
who
there.
am I to judge, right?
Park on the
Anyway,
right.
That's
I'll
what
see
I
you
heard
later
last
tonight.
night.
It's hard to concentrate on 2 things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Have a question or an opinion? Call Lynn Cullen at 412-316-3381 or email lynn at pghcitypaper.com. Now, more with Lynn Cullen Live.
And now we're going to talk about something uncontroversial, like the Cancel Colbert campaign. Just kidding.
And that was another.
Moving along. No. I was just joking.
I have not brought that up, but that was
You have
another
other
stupid
clippings
thing.
too. No,
Beware
God,
in this day and age. Oh, the rage of the internet. Okay, you brought. I'm not going to talk about it.
No, it's fine.
I'm not going to talk about it.
We'll save it for off
Man, whipping up mobs has never been easier. It has never been easier.
Yeah, sure.
Jeez.
Wisdom of crowds. I mean, look. Social
And did you
media.
see Brad Pitt bought the movie rights for the Steubenville Anonymous v. Steubenville or something it's called?
Oh, really?
No. And I'm thinking,
Oh, dear.
come on. Are we going to now make Anonymous into some kind of a hero?
No.
Anytime
Does
someone...
this mean Brad will be wearing a Guy Fawkes mask?
Anyone who wears a Guy Fawkes mask, I immediately detest. I'm sorry, I cannot stomach it. And if we start applauding anonymity, right, okay, and you can't do that and then at the same time rail against the lack of transparency in Washington.
Well, contrary-wise, you can't rail about what a person does about that it's so sad that a person reaps the whirlwind from his private activity and then complain about people wanting to shield themselves with a mask when they go out and protest corporate control.
Oh, aren't you? What were you on the debate team?
No, I'm just saying.
All right. I think there's a lot.
As Mike said, these are
Isn't this called
relations.
solipsism? There's a lot of it going on.
I mean, solipsism is...
I thought it was false argument.
No.
What is
solipsism? Is when you're only concerned with yourself and all your arguments.
No.
Yeah,
What? And all your arguments are what?
All your arguments are just sort of like everything is just totally self-contained and self-absorbed. That's what solipsism is.
All right.
Yeah, I think so.
Give me a example. Who's a...
I don't know. I
you
can't
mean in the
think
course...
of,
you can't?
Well, the course of our discussion here, no part of this discussion has... It's all been about engaged about larger issues. Yeah.
So if, when we were talking about this, I said, well, let me tell you what happened to me, then that would be solipsism?
I think... No, I mean, it's like a sort of whole mindset approach to the world. It's not... You can't just say one thing that's solipsistic in the course of a broader discussion.
All right.
Solipsism would be about not even having the broader discussion in the first place.
All right. So, let's have a big round of applause for the small businessman who owns guns galore.
Ah, yes. Yeah.
Guns galore in Killeen, Texas. This is a little business that not only sold the death-dealing firearm to Major Hassan, but also to this latest character at Fort Hood.
Is there an allegation that either of these sales were against the law in contravention to good sense even? Guy walks in, you don't necessarily know what
nice-looking guys, but they're wearing, good guys.
Yeah,
no,
both
I'm
in the
just
military.
saying, guns galore.
Yeah. I mean, that guy's just the unluckiest gun dealer.
Oh, yeah.
He deserves our sympathy, Lynn.
I will.
He's being called out just for doing
and
business.
I know, just for trying to make a buck.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Look, he's a gun dealer in Texas. If he wasn't willing to sell firearms to some borderline types, he would have closed shop years ago.
Just the name of his shop makes me want to shoot him.
Yeah.
Guns galore.
It does betray a certain cavalierness to our hallowed Second Amendment.
Oh my God! Anyone who could even walk into a place named Guns Galore. Oh God, it's just sick. Totally sick.
Yeah, it does sound like there should be like helium balloons or something.
Exactly. No, it does.
Dispense from clown, like those
Guns galore, and right, and you have a lot of they wonderful playthings for the kiddies.
That's right. Come into our Eddie Eagle room for.
Well, don't you remember that there was that Chuck E. Cheese in Monroeville where my kid had a party once, and in that little ball, in the thing where you go ball pit, the kid found a gun.
Really? Oh, really? I don't recall that at all.
Mom, look at this. Look what I found. You don't remember that?
No. That must have been a while back. That's great.
Yeah.
What a bonus. Happy birthday.
Jeez. All right. So this is a little noted item, but I just wanted to. So now that the Affordable Care Act has, passed its first hurdle.
Yeah.
And you got... Estimates are probably about 10 million, maybe even more people now having insurance. Don't mean to bore you.
No, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
5 this morning.
The Republicans in the House yesterday passed a law that would redefine parts of the Affordable Care Act to change the law. See, the way the law works now, if you work up to 30 hours a week, you're considered a full-time employee.
If you work more than 30 hours.
More than 30 hours a week. Well, the Republicans don't want that, so they say we want to put that where it belongs, 40 hours. Mm-hmm. And if that were to go through, and this is what the Congressional Budget Office told the Republicans. Well, okay, but if you do that, what you're going to have is that hundreds of thousands of people will lose the insurance that they just gained.
That's right.
Hundreds of thousands of people will lose their insurance. And the Republicans, to a man and woman said, yeah, that's the point. Right? That's the point. They won't stop.
Yeah. Well, what else are they going to do?
What?
They have bought themselves the train ticket, and it's too late for a refund. And the train only goes the one direction down the tracks. And so this is all they really got. I mean, what I think is sort of interesting is in the past few days since it made this completely arbitrary $7 million threshold, you've got some of the thinkers kind of saying, you know what? Maybe we want to downplay this whole opposition to healthcare thing, but I mean, it's just too late. It's just too late. They can't do that. They just can't reverse the field like that, 8 months before an election. And even less before their primaries when some of them are facing Tea Party types. So that's where they're at.
Wow. What is this that somebody sent me? Rosemary. Oh, this looks like an old story, so I don't know. Rosemary,
she said it's a story about somebody whose
dying.
Definition of life success is to take care of, even though he has cancer, to take care of people who are worse off than he is. Yeah.
5 months ago, the 9-time Emmy Award winner, he was on he was a writer for The Simpsons?
Yeah. Diagnosed with terminal colon cancer.
He has terminal colon cancer. 3 to 6 months to live. He said he will donate nearly all of his sizable royalties from The Simpsons.
To Mick Jagger.
Yeah. And those royalties alone get him tens of millions of dollars every year. And he wants to give it all to charity.
Wow.
He was married twice, once to actress Jennifer Tilly and once to Playboy Playmate.
Oh. You can't say he didn't live.
No, Jamie Farrell. But they never had any children. And so he So that's a if you got think of what some people do with their money and think of that, and that's a good man. So Rosemary's saying, you talk about what is success. This guy has lived a successful life, I guess.
Yeah.
You two sound like Saturday Night Live's point counterpoint. Jane, you ignorant slut. That's going.
That's unfair.
Did we sound?
I've never thought of Lynn as a slut.
Well, I'm glad you thought.
Anyway.
Laughing at his own jokes.
And she's never called me ignorant.
No, I haven't. Here's some good news, kinda. The Justice Department, the largest environmental settlement in history, where the polluter has to cough up money to help clean up the damage they've done to the environment. This has happened. It should get a little more attention, because usually when these things happen, they'll say like, and BP has been fined
$100 million.
$100 million, which is in their petty cash drawer, right?
The couch cushions in the boardroom.
This one is a little bit more impressive. And this is, and you never even heard of these people, Anadarko Petroleum, which is, you have heard of them? I have not. Which made a mistake of acquiring Kerr-McGee about 7 years ago. And what they're paying for now is the damage that Kerr-McGee wrought for 85 years all over this country.
Yep.
Polluted Lake Mead.
Yep.
Major source of drinking water in the Southwest.
Yep.
Uranium.
Well, maybe not for much longer.
Mining left radioactive waste piles throughout the Navajo Nation. They have done so much polluting of air, water, ground, and with impunity for 85 years, and just walked away, and you paid for it. The taxpayers always paid for it. Well, the Obama administration has finally brought them to a measure of justice, and they will have to fork over $5 billion.
Right.
That, I don't know if that's a little bit of something they would feel.
Yeah. Although one would suspect that the executive leadership of these companies, that's a publicly traded firm, right, Anadarko. So you have, once again, thanks to the genius of the corporation.
Oh, they are.
You have transferred the responsibility to shareholders.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah.
That's what we really need to fix in this country, I think, actually. I mean, people, if you go back and you look historically, what was a corporation? I mean, they existed for very limited purposes, and usually for projects that had some sort of broader public benefit.
When was the point of where the court allowed it to get into this craziness?
It's a very interesting debate. I believe that the notion that corporations or private citizens began with a sort of almost a throwaway line in a Supreme Court decision.
That was it wasn't
even in the decision proper. I believe it was in the caption, which is sort of a summary of the decision. So it wasn't even a justice who wrote it. It was some clerk sort of summarizing the justice's argument.
Yeah.
I think it was like an 1893 decision or something like that. But even then, it took a few decades for some of this stuff to get to take hold, and it wasn't, I think, really until the Franklin Roosevelt administration that corporations really began to use these kinds of loopholes, and the Supreme Court allowed them to go through.
All right, caller, hi.
Hi, Lynn. Hi, Chris. How are you this morning?
Good.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say what Chris was talking about, the corporate, what you're discussing, the Supreme Court case. I actually sort of agree with it because, number one, if a person, whatever money they want to spend, they should be able to spend it on anything they wish to spend. And if you actually read the decision, it also says there's still a limit on how much they can give to an individual, but they can give to as many as they wish. And I can't believe, the other thing is, too, I can't believe I'm going to agree with Chris on this one, is that I believe that person should be able to give anything they want, but we should have full disclosure, meaning that we should all know who's giving to what, to who, to whose candidates. It should be completely open.
Yep.
Right.
So everyone knows who's contributing to whatever candidate it might be.
You want to know, for each politician, whose boy they are.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and that means because the door swings both ways, that includes all the union people and all the unions that are giving their money to the Democrats.
Yeah. Sure.
As you can just even tell here in Pennsylvania, why do you think we still have state stores?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's the number one reason we have state stores, because the union that runs they're so big, nobody wants to go against them because they contribute so much money to and actually they got all the Democrats, they don't need them, so they only need to pick up 2 or 3 Republicans, and that's it. Yeah. It never is going to happen.
Okay.
Thanks for the call.
We appreciate it. Thank you very much. And that sort of brings us to our final email from Beth, who says, I remembered years ago that I called you and said that all elected officials should have to be like NASCAR drivers and wear their corporate sponsors on their suits.
Yeah.
Every elected official should have to wear the logos of their top 10 sponsors.
Right.
And this way we would know what company that politician is whoring for. If this rule were in play today, I'm sure Rich Fitzgerald would have range resources on his suit. Well, not only would he have it on his...
Plus a free advertising opportunity for all those fine corporations, right?
Yes, indeedy.
They're willing to pay to get their logos on park benches.
And you can have it on a living, breathing pal.
Tattoo it on the forehead.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, tattoo them.
I will say, one of the things, again, as somebody who works with this stuff all the time, Pittsburgh, for its last mayoral election, had these campaign finance limits in place early on.
Yes, right.
And I was like, when that first happened, I was like, crap. Now it's like before it used to be somebody would just dump $50,000 and there's your story. There you go. $50,000 to Luke Ravenstall from, the executives at, Burns and Scalo or whoever. Now they've got these damn limits. Now I'm going to be looking at a bunch of $2,500 gifts and the pages are going to go on forever. And then, happily for me, the limits got lifted because of some shenanigans or whatever. But, again, there is this sort of desire to kind of at least know and to be able to kind of wrap your arms around it. But what I'm concerned is, as that caller said, it limits how much you can give to an individual candidate. I don't see how all Robert said in his decision
how that's going to stand.
This decision does not involve that.
Right.
And that doesn't mean
they'll wipe those limits out.
Yeah.
And that's what everybody thinks.
It's just as easy to interpret that as bring us another case that does involve that, and we'll be happy.
They're waiting. What this decision was an invitation. To bring us a case where we can finish the job.
It's the frog in the water, in the pot of water.
Yeah. We ain't so dumb, Roberts. We see what you're up to.
And we're going to vote you out the next chance we get, by gosh.
Dear Lord. Well.
All right, well, are you on 4802 this evening?
Yes, I believe I am.
I'll be sure to tune in. It's at what time? 7:30?
That would be correct.
Yes.
On channel 13 or 813
cable channel, whatever it is
cable channel 12. I don't know what the hell all these channels are anymore.
Have a good weekend.
I don't know. Yeah. Will you stop pushing me? You know what?
I just thought you were going to go into Andy. You felt like you're going to Andy Rooney territory in a hurry, sister. That's all. I was just trying to help you out.
No. And having been no fan of that old...
What's with all these channels now?
All right.
And there's still nothing on.
Bye.
Bye.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.